is. It's a lunch hour, and I know you're getting ready for NFL football, but we've got great information and a really fun show today. Yeah, we can make the law fun. This is Law 2020. Wade Boyette, Heath Nalos, Brian Monk, Eileen Mazinets are on here sometimes. And Heath's wife, Kristen, that comes on with us, right? Yes. She's very, very good. But we've got the man himself. We've got Wade Boyette with us. You hear of him in community events. He's all over the place. Triathlon at Disney. I mean, the guy is a svelte 31-year-old man. And, God, yeah, what'd you do out there? How could you do?
Well, it was a CrossFit event. It was a fitness challenge out at Disney, and the group that I was involved with, we finished third, so it was good.
Wow. And that ain't easy.
No, not for an old guy.
Ah, come on. Don't look like an old guy. Now, we're going to deal with something today that's been in the headlines quite a bit lately. Pain pills, pain management, what's going on with hydrocodone, and why is it now a Class 1 narcotic, and what does that mean? All right, what does that mean? A lot of people in our state think it's high time that it's been classified as that because it was being heavily abused across Florida. But we'll be talking about that. We'll take your pain questions because you have with you today
a very good friend of mine and a great doctor, Dr. Julio Paez, and they own an office called South Lake Pain Institute with offices in Claremont, Florida, and Orlando. He has a partner, Julie Serenita. They do a great job, do a lot of work with our office, so I'm proud to have him here with us today.
Let's start off, Dr. Paez. Tell us what a pain management doctor does. What do you specialize in? I know pain. The audience is saying, Rob, you're stupid, pain. But tell us how you address that pain.
That's a great question. We're often asked, I have pain here, my ankle, my knee, headaches. Do you treat that? And the answer is always yes. We are a pain management group. So you think of us as the people that will come in after everything else has failed. You start having pain, you go to your primary care doctor. They'll do the usual things, over the counter, maybe some muscle relaxants, send you to physical therapy. Perhaps you may need surgery. But when all those measures have failed to improve your pain, then we come in. We have more aggressive therapy. We have more knowledge of the medications. We've been trained to do certain procedures, injections that may improve your pain, and we certainly have more options for you.
The methodology of pain management, is it moving as fast as the other things we see in medicine?
Well, it certainly is. The current trend at this point is to do multimodal therapy, which is to do a little bit of everything and in combination achieve results, as opposed to we're moving away from this previous 20 years where it's only narcotics, painkillers, and hoping that painkillers by themselves will solve the problem. We have found out with experience of years and years and plenty of studies that that's not the case. The most common pain condition treated in the United States is low back pain. And multiple studies done throughout the world have already proven that patients prescribed painkillers, exclusively painkillers for back pain, don't do well at the end for multiple reasons.
Well, and aren't some of these pain medicines, if you don't take other precautions with nutraceuticals, diet, whatever, some of these pain things can be very, very bad to the liver and to the organs, right?
Absolutely, and we touched back on the point that you brought up with the hydrocodone changing status for the classification within the DEA and the FDA, and that's because the high levels of acetaminophen present in hydrocodone, the combination. This medication is called Narco or Vicodin. Patients were taking 12 of these medications a day will total up to about 3,500 milligrams of acetaminophen, which is the equivalent of drinking a few beers every day, and multiply that by several years, and that's the effect you're going to have in the liver.
Mm-hmm. And what about the habitualness of oxy and the hydrocodone? I mean, they're very easy to get attached to.
Well, I have a personal story about that. I recently had knee surgery, had ACL reconstruction, and as fearing pain medicine, right after my surgery, I was refusing to take it until I can't take it anymore. I finally took my first medication, and aside from taking care of my pain, it made me feel good. It's called euphoria. And a lot of people think that feeling good has to be the same feeling as having a few drinks or maybe have smoked something green. But no, it doesn't necessarily makes you feel like that, but it does give a little smile on your face. It makes you feel good, and that's a euphoria. And that effect is what we try to duplicate when we continue to take these medications outside of a pain prescription, is that euphoria that you get, even if it's short-lived, but it's always present there.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, when they made this change of the level of what hydrocodone is, and there's a lot of people in this listening audience that have it in their medicine cabinet, have it in their glove compartment, have it in their briefcase, and in a drawer at work. I mean, they've got that stuff everywhere. What does that do now? I understand from one doctor who's treating me for an automobile accident injury, a lot of extensive damage in my neck, that we're dealing with something that he no longer can fax in a prescription. Is that the case? What is the new protocol if you're on it?
Well, hydrocodone became equivalent to morphine, methadone, or oxycodone, the stronger medications. And to be honest with you, we've always wondered how long it was going to take to make it to that same level. Hydrocodone is no different from oxycodone, morphine, or any of the other pain medications. It just gave us that avenue that we could fax it. We could call it in for a weekend prescription for our patients, but the system was abused. And doctors were prescribing 360 pills a month for a patient with perhaps no pain. And a little history on hydrocodone are things that make you think of that is not such a naive medication. It's the one medication that an entire album was named after. A very famous hip-hop artist, had a tattoo that said Vicodin. And he dedicated the artwork of his album to a pill of Vicodin, and he famously went to rehab for addiction to this medication. So it is not a naive medication to be around, and grandma shouldn't be holding 20, 30 pills in her cabinet at home. She should not be holding those medications.
Now, let me ask you this. We got the attorney Wade Boyette from the BCN Law Firm. This is 2020 you're listening to. We welcome your calls at 855-297-9696. Text us at 21232. What has changed now legally about being in possession of that? Let's say that the mother of a family has been prescribed hydrocodone, and she lets her friend drive the car to work, and the friend gets stopped. Can they be charged with possession of a Class 1 narcotic?
If it's mom's car and you're driving mom's car and mom's prescription in the car, they wouldn't be charged. But if they do what I know people out there do, is go into mom's cabinet and grab a few pills and take it out and get in their car and get pulled over, they're in possession of an illegal substance. Mm-hmm.
Or they try to take it to school and
Correct.
Sell it for so many dollars a pill, right?
That's exactly right. And unfortunately, you hear those stories, and we get those stories in the office where, young kids, or it doesn't even have to be a young kid, who gotten in trouble with possession of an illegal substance, and usually where they got them was out of a family member's medicine cabinet, sneaking in there and grabbing a few, or, naively, the parent or the grandparent has given the kids that because they've complained about something and they know no better, and they give it to them.
All right. Is there any cases that come across your mind of people being stopped by the police and they are taking maybe too many hydrocodones or oxy, and instead of DUI for alcohol, it's DUI under drugs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're under the influence and you're pulled over, it doesn't matter if you're under the influence of alcohol or another drug. I mean, you are driving under the influence, and they will give you a ticket, and you're going to end up having to come in and see a guy like us, or like Brian Monk in the office, to get you out of trouble. It's a serious offense.
Well, sometimes a rather than top flight lawyer and doctor get together, and that's a question that I'll ask now and we'll answer when we come back after the break, and say, well, XYZ was in this accident. It's sure going to look a lot better in the lawsuit if we've got them on hydrocodone or on oxy for their pain. So I really think we need to get that prescription. We'll find out whether that comes up, or I just have a devious mind. We'll be back right after this on the Law 2020 show. We'll be back. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, it's Law 2020 featuring attorneys from the BCN Law Firm. That's right. They've got offices Winter Park, Claremont, Lakeland, and a brand new office right up there by my house in the Villages. I mean, it's just a hop, skip, and a hill with my house. I can fall down the hill and be there. So anyway, it's on Highway 466 in one of the office buildings along America's fastest growing community. And, of course, growing with it is the BCN Law Firm. And we have Wade Boyette from there right now. If you want to contact the law firm during the week, we invite you to do so. A few free minutes of consultation is yours for the asking. 855-LAW-2020. 855-LAW-2020. Spell that out on your phone. Or 352-394-2103. 352-394-2103. Wade Boyette is here, as well as Dr. Julio Paez from South Lake Pain Management, offices in Claremont and Orlando. And they're taking care of you with your pains, not only just masking the pain with a pill or a shot, but working out a regimen that's going to try to get you through all this. Now, I posed a question before the break, and I was probably being, a little bit down on some lawyers or some doctors who have been unscrupulous. Every vocation has the great, the top grade, and then they've got those that are down around a D or an F. But I guess there's also patients that are the same way, who would come to you and say, wouldn't my lawsuit hold a lot more teeth or weight if I was taking hydrocodone and oxy, because it looks like I'm in more pain? What say you, panel?
Here's the thing is, Robin, as an attorney and I'm sure as a physician, you do get put in positions where patients or clients ask you to do some things at certain times that ethically you won't do. And, I'm sure there are attorneys and physicians out there that don't have the same standards as myself and Dr. Paez have. If that's the case, I just prefer not to have that client. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't take them as a client, and we would send them, down the road. But, it's easy. Clients come in, they're desperate, and they do ask us crazy things.
Yeah. Doctor, I was going to ask you the question. I can remember back in the day when you used to drive up and down the roads of Central Florida, and there was a pain management clinic on every block. I mean, like the real estate schools were in the 80s. You knew every shopping center had at least one in it. Now every shopping center's got at least one thrift store. But arguably, are we cleaning up the mess?
We are. The state of Florida is finally catching up to what the rest of the country was telling them, that we were the major providers of pain pills for the rest of the United States. And that was an embarrassing title to have. One of the rules clearly stated, if you want to call your place a pain management clinic, you need to have the proper training. Somebody like Dr. Serenito and myself, we went to school, spent 4 years doing anesthesiology, and after that I did a fellowship exclusively for pain management, and I have to be board certified within those two specialties. And then in addition to that, I register with the Department of Health, and I get inspected every year. They have access to my records. They look at everything we do, and we keep above and beyond scrutiny. And we're happy. We welcome these inspections. They become so routine for us that now they realize they have to do the inspection, but they don't have to do anything with us because we keep above. So all these clinics were calling themselves pain management, but they really were not pain management. They were just prescribing pills. Now,
they also come in, am I right in saying that these inspectors will come in and take an inventory of everything that you've got in stock? And if it's accounted for, is that what they do?
What I believe is it's the pain clinics, the ones that you were talking about, that were in malls next to a massage parlor. They didn't even have a sink to wash your hands on.
Oh, wonderful!
How could you treat patients with dirty hands? These places wouldn't have a stethoscope. They wouldn't have a blood pressure machine. All they needed was a room, 4 walls, and 2 chairs, and a clipboard, and they would ride away. Those are the things that the Board of Medicine is looking at. We have a surgical room in our office, and we find endotracheal tubes and anesthetic drugs in our office because we take care of high-level complexity patients.
Gosh. Are you ever also your expertise needed in a court of law? Wade, do you sometimes call on the doctor to come in and address pain management after an accident or something?
There could be a case in both, if we had a criminal case or a personal injury case where we may need to call someone with Dr. Paez's qualifications and as an expert witness to help us. We were talking earlier about, is it illegal to drive while you're under the influence of medication? And, it is. People get pulled over for alcohol. It's pretty easy for the police to determine if you're intoxicated. You have a limit of 0.08. You can't go over. And they either do a breathalyzer or they have certain tests they can do, and if you're over 0.08, you're arrested.
Yeah.
With pain medicines, it's a lot different. Alcohol gets out of your system pretty quickly.
Right.
Well, some of these drugs, marijuana, for example, doesn't get out of your system for weeks. Other prescription drugs may take days to get out of your system. So you get pulled over and you get accused, and then you end up having a urinalysis test done, or there are certain other tests that police officers can do. That's when we would need to bring in someone like Dr. Paez to try to prove that our client wasn't driving under the influence. It was days ago that he took the drug or they took the drug. So yeah, Dr. Paez and Dr. Serenita could easily be called as an expert witness in case of
Dr. Paez, I have the question that I saw this in my own area where I live, that one of the people was given hydrocodone by their doctor, but they went right down the street to another doctor and then to another doctor in Orlando. And for some reason, there was no communication back and forth of what was happening here. And then when they got real desperate, they ended up going into the emergency room and said they were in pain and got another prescription.
I hear from law enforcement agents that they're happy that the new laws have changed, because in the past they have no ways to prosecuting this. But the new laws now have that as a crime. It's called doctor shopping. And now we have a system. We can all go into a computer and check where these patients have been filling their medications. We can tell who prescribed it, what day, when did they fill that medication.
Very cool.
And that's something we do with every single patient that comes to our office.
That is very, very cool. I always wondered if there was a new system being put in place that would let you know that, hey, you're prescribing this. Well, the guy down the street already did 2 hours ago.
And that's what makes a difference between the pill mills and the pain management clinics.
Yeah.
We check every patient, and some of them don't know we have access to the system, and we catch them all the time. And they will receive a nice letter in the mail saying that we no longer be their doctor.
If you have chronic pain, if you've been suffering from something, if it's been lifelong, you had an accident, maybe you just developed it while golfing, hey, we've got a doctor right here right now, courtesy of the BCN Law Firm. It is South Lake Pain Institute. So go ahead and give us a call. We'll line up calls during the news break. 855-297-9696. 855-297-9696. You could text us at 21232, 21232, or use the all-new open mic feature at that new News 96.5 app on your smartphone. We'll be back. Attorney Wade Boyette is here. This is the Law 2020 show, heard every single Sunday during the noon hour, leading you up to a great afternoon of experts, and you can multitask. We have a very smart audience. You can watch football, turn down the sound, and get an education, a master's education in finance, in real estate, in medical, in even swimming pool building, in car maintenance. I mean, we do it all here. Plumbing, air conditioning. It's all right here, and it's all on a level to explain it to you to help your life and help your dollars go further as well. All right, we do have two callers joining the show at 855-297-9696. Any legal question can be asked during the show here, but today we are specializing in pain management, the law of pain, the pain mills, and we have very honored to have with us from South Lake Pain Institute, Dr. Julio Paez, who during the break was telling us about some phenomenal things that you've never heard before from Dr. Oz or anybody else about the ill effects beyond just what is apparent for men who take these medicines, because there's some things you guys don't want to have happen to you as long as you're a man. We don't want you to turn around and start, watching soap operas all afternoon. So anyway, and start knitting. Yeah, you can start doing that. Very good. All right, let's go to Richard on line 1. Richard, how can we help you?
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking the call. My question is in reference to my mother, who she's been under some pain medication because of, her back and her knee, different things like that. But it's kind of gotten to the point where I'm uncomfortable that she is getting good coordination with her doctors. And I want to know, what can I, for an elder care person, do to be able to step in, get a good understanding, and talk to the doctors to find out what she's taking, what she's on, and if anyone's coordinating it, because it seems like she is not, it seems like she's been kind of out of it because she's taken multiple medications, and I don't know if they're even coordinating with one another.
Guys?
You want to take this?
You can take it.
Well, Richard, there are a lot of implications here, but to try to summarize it and give you a short answer, if you're working with reputable physicians with the proper training and they're in coordination with the primary care physician of your mother, they should be talking with each other and ensuring the safety of your mother first and foremost. A couple things that you can do. Most physicians I know are very receptive to having family members accompany elderly patients to the consultations, and we'll take in consideration your concerns. If you bring up that your mother has been sedated, we'll make adjustments. A couple things we could do is send home health care. There are nurses that specialize in visiting your mom at home and evaluating the environment and where she walks around. They evaluate how she behaves after taking medications, and they'll report back to us, and we can make the proper adjustments. But certainly communication with your doctor is paramount, and communication among her physicians is even more important.
Yeah, Richard, let me add something to that. If your mom still has the mental capacity to do so, I would have her, if she would, give you the durable power of attorney for healthcare. If she would name you the healthcare surrogate, then you would have the ability to go and contact those physicians. You would have the ability to attend those meetings with her. So I would definitely try to get her to appoint you as her healthcare surrogate.
All right.
Would I also need to go and have each doctor, would she need to fill out paperwork with each doctor individually, or does that durable healthcare power of attorney work by me presenting it?
If you represent yourself with legal document that you have power of attorney, then you can obtain information from all the appropriate physicians. The problem is you may be presented with paperwork you may yourself not understand what you're reading, and you may be scared if you see a certain medication being prescribed, but that doesn't necessarily explain the situation to you. There's some physicians that do some private work, and they can review the paperwork for you for a small fee.
And I'll tell you what, if you want to get more help on this down the road, Richard, and it sounds like you'll want to, especially with the legal papers and all that sort of thing, you just reach out to the Law 2020 team, and that is the BCN Law Firm. You can reach them during the week at 352-394-2103 or 855-LAW-2020, bcnlawfirm.com, bcnlawfirm.com, and further calls to Dr. Julio Paez. And what's your contact information, Doctor?
Our main office number is 352-394-0833, and through that number you can coordinate all the services that are needed.
All right, we'll make note of that, and let's go on the phone now. Let's join Greg. Greg, what's going on?
Yeah, hey there. Got a question or two for a panel there, especially for Dr. Paez. Me, as an example, I'm disabled. Have been for 15 years. I've had 16 surgeries between back, stomach, shoulder, all kinds of stuff over the last 10 years. And treating with the same physician in that whole period of time. But how does Dr. Paez feel about taking on a new patient with a history as muddied as somebody like mine would be? I am on pain medications, but the doctors that I've been treating with for the last 15 years, sometimes I feel like I'm the one that's going to fall through the cracks. I don't want to go to another doctor for fear of losing what I've already got, but they're not necessarily managing my pain proper.
That's a great question, Greg. A lot of our patients come from Florida, being a destination place. We will get people that move from up north all the time with medical conditions. All we do is we require is the medical charts from your previously treating physician. We'll evaluate the case, and we certainly do that every day. We take new cases with patients that have already taken medications all the time. We don't try to impose our ways, but we certainly do things the right way. And you may find that depends who was treating you, it may be a difference, and you may have, or our patients may have, a little hard time adjusting to the way things are. We were talking about multimodal therapy, using different medications to treat, using injections, procedures, referrals to see other people. So we get everybody involved. We get a team involved in your care. And some people may feel uncomfortable because that's not what they're used to. But we certainly can review your chart and let you know what we can do for you.
Okay, and give us that contact information once again, Doctor.
Our office number is 352-394-0833. You can also reach us at on the website, www.southlakepaininstitute.com.
All right, very good. And, of course, again, it is bcnlawfirm.com, 352-394-2103 or 855-LAW-2020. I love to sing that, but I'm not a singer. Maybe Tim can belt out a little chorus of that after a while. Hey, well, we do have open lines, 4 open lines right now at 855-297-9696 or text us at 21232. If you're not real sure how to do that, just go on your messaging app. That's the one with the envelope on your phone, the envelope, icon. Press that, and where it says to or recipient, just put 21232. All right, and then you just have a text field, and you text your field. You've got about 160 characters, including spaces. Bill, how can we help you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Bill.
I'm a paraplegic. Been in the chair for 25 years now, and also a left leg amputee. And just to give you my situation, and I got scoliosis so severe that my hip bones are facing straight up and down now. And I've been got on pain medicine. Just started taking pain medicine about 10 years ago when I absolutely had to. But and I used to have no problem getting my pain medicine. Well, I lost my insurance and got put on methadone, and I was on 15 a day at one time, which sounds high to me, and it does most people. Well, I'm down to 6 a day and with oxycodone, and I can't put the pain pump in because of my situation. But I've literally had to drive around to 47 different pharmacies to get my medicine filled at one time on a weekend because of the way the DEA is trying to, which I'm glad they closed all them pill mills down. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad about that. But because of that, they kind of lumped everybody in the same category, and now I can't get my pain medicine sometimes. And, I literally have pharmacies that say, we can't deal with people that are not in our area no more. I mean, and it's a hassle. Is there any way they're going to, if they can change that? Or, is there any kind of idea about what I should go do about that?
The way we circumvent that situation, and it's unfortunate, like you mentioned before, it's a DEA, FDA, and the local government is involved in regulating this, which we needed. The way we circumvent that in our office is we have good relationships with our pharmacies. They know us. So when you present yourself to a pharmacy, a local pharmacy in our vicinity, and you carry our prescription, you're going to be treated as a legitimate patient because they know you're coming from a legitimate pain clinic, a legitimate pain management physician. And some of our local pharmacies will go as far as ordering the medication ahead of. You can call them and say, in three days, I'm coming with X amount of methadone, and they'll have it available for you, which is a service you may not have in the bigger places, bigger areas, because the big chain pharmacies have regulations. They are actually limited as to the amount of oxycodone they can sell altogether, and that includes OxyContin, Percocets, plain oxycodones, and all the other combinations. So that adds up as the amount of grams of oxycodone each pharmacy could sell. And they self-regulate for the same reason, but the smaller pharmacies, the ones that are local to us and know us, don't do that.
Okay, thank you so much for the call, Bill. Any follow-up? You can always follow up with the law firm at 352-394-2103, or you can follow up with Dr. Paez, and we will get his contact information once again when we come back after 3 big things you need to know. All right, we've got about 7 more minutes to spend together, almost 8. And you can join the program at 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696, or text us at 21232, 21232. Wade, I want to thank you so much for bringing Dr. Paez on, because I was unaware that we do have some people who are really getting into not just, well, I do know of a couple of doctors, but that it's becoming more widespread now, that it's not just the pill, it's not just masking it, it's let's find the source of the pain and let's fix it. And I think it's very good. I know a couple of doctors that do that, and I think it's fantastic.
Well, it's a pleasure to have Dr. Paez on. Our firm tries to partner with, medical people in the medical field and other areas of expertise that have the highest ethics and have the highest standards. So we are very fortunate to be able to work with Dr. Paez and Dr. Julie Serenita. They're wonderful physicians, have a wonderful practice, just opened a practice in Orlando. So all of our Orlando listeners, have access to Dr. Paez and Dr. Serenita now. So it's wonderful. So I do appreciate Dr. Paez taking his time out today to come and join us.
For those who may be seeking to get into the medical field, Doctor, is this something, and what schools are actually teaching this type of medicine that says, yeah, here's what you can do with the pill, but here's the next step. Here's where we need to go?
Well, it takes 13 years to get there.
Wow.
So it's after you graduate from med school, you will start a specialty that will focus into pain management, and anesthesiologists by default were the pain management physicians of the hospital. Everybody who came out of surgery was in pain, so we were called by default. And through the years, we realized we needed a little more than that simple knowledge of what to do right outside the operating rooms, because we're constantly being asked to manage these patients maybe 24, 48 hours after their surgery when they're in a hospital bed. So we created, or my teachers created, fellowships to train us specifically in pain management, and we spend 1 or 2 years training ourselves just for that.
Wow, 13 years. Tim and I know to get into radio takes 13 minutes. Not really. I've been in this game 31 years. Anyway, this is very, very interesting, and I guess relatively new to our society.
Well, the United States, the United States, we're blessed. Pain management physicians around the world exist in only major institutions, and there's a long waiting time to get into see this patients in Canada. I train in Buffalo, and about 10-15% of my patients were Canadians that couldn't wait, and they traveled to come see us.
Wow, that is pretty doggone amazing. Is there any other drugs besides hydrocodone that are on the list that the federal government's looking at that says we need to get better regulation of these things?
Well, they grabbed tramadol on the way in with that one, and tramadol was one of the mildest medications we have, but now it's considered at the same level as methadone, morphine, oxycodone, and hydrocodone.
Now, we teased our audience a while ago, but some of them are going to think twice before they open up that pill bottle after you deliver this news. These painkillers can cause other problems, especially some men problems that you guys haven't thought about. Let's hear it.
Yes, sir, indeed. When we start our patients on narcotics, we have a plan with them. We'll let them know whether it's going to be a short-term thing or is it going to be a long-term medication. If we expect them to take medications for a long time, we give them informed consent and tell them what can they expect as side effects. And we were discussing how pain pills can mess up your hormonal system. And by doing that, you will become hypothyroid, which will make you gain weight and be depressed. It will mess with testosterone and estrogen, causing sexual dysfunction, low sexual energy, low performance, and even osteoporosis and fractures.
That makes a guy think, okay, we got all the guys in the room right now are kind of going, oh, God, here we go. Here's another problem. Especially when you gauge all the testosterone issues that are out there right now. And one, you slide one more thing into the factor that's going to alter your testosterone levels. And, that's one thing I bet a lot of people didn't consider when they were thinking about adjusting or taking, hormones or taking this by another means.
It is. In young adults, it's the number one cause of sexual dysfunction and osteoporosis is the consumption of narcotics.
Wow. Had no idea No idea whatsoever. Let's have your contact information one more time. If somebody wants to become a patient or just come in and have a few minutes of free consultation with you.
It's phone number is 352-394-0833, or the web, we are at www.southlakepaininstitute.com.
Okay, very good. And Wade, how about you?
It's 1-800-LAW-2020 or 352-394-2103.
Let me ask you this. You guys, both of you, have to be watching with really, really a lot of interest what is going to happen in the election when it comes to the medical marijuana. And I'm sure that Wade's looking at the legal possible ramifications of this, and I'm sure, Doctor, that you're looking at the medical applications, but also maybe some of the medical complications.
Yeah, we've definitely been involved in it. Looking at it from a legal standpoint, we've represented several people who are looking at being one of the, growers, one of the people who are issued a license. So we've helped them with RFPs, trying to get applications in. And it's going to be interesting. This election is going to be interesting for a lot of reasons, not just the legal medical marijuana issues.
Mm-hmm. And again, that's going to have all kinds of implications with driving, handling machinery. I mean, is it possible that an industry could put out a newsletter the day after this, if it passes, it just says, you work in an environment in a sheet metal factory, you are not going to be able to take this, even though it's medically approved? Is that going to be a court case?
That's going to end up with a court case. Unfortunately, if it is medically prescribed, it's going to be tough for an employer to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you drive for the Mass Transit Company, you drive for this, or you do this. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits come out of this because people are going to say it's my right.
Correct. It's going to be an interesting situation.
And doctor, are they taking the necessary steps in your mind to make sure that this doesn't become a pill mill situation where they sit you down across the table and go, yeah, it looks like you need it to me?
Yeah, Wade, we were also advised the panel, the medical panel in Florida, as to what the implications were, because we have the examples that came from the pain medication experience, and we have advised them, and the regulations, I think, is going to be strong, and things are going to be taken care of.
Very good. Well, this state does cross its T's and dot its I's. There's no doubt about that. Guys, thank you so much for another great show, Law 2020 with the BCN Law Firm, and we'll see you again next week. We continue to ask the experts all day long, and I do believe Talon Wealth Management is up next.